So we piloted Kaizen Copilot in one of our local facilities. Retrocausal actually brought 2 resources on site to help us kind of get trained in and set things up on site. Overall, it was extremely simple. Maybe we spent 1 to 2 days selecting sites or selecting work cells and recording videos. When we did the analysis with help from the Retrocausal resources, we found that the initial results made a lot of sense and ended up showing pretty good results for the primary work cell that we were interested in. In addition, the plant showed a ton of honestly unexpected interest in the Ergo Copilot tool. Unexpected from our standpoint, that is. So we made the decision based on those successes to roll out to a handful of interested sites. So we deployed this now to 15 sites. I would say the primary use is still Ergonomics Copilot, but we're expanding Ergo Copilot in the applicable work cells, and the implementation honestly is rolling out as expected. In general, no. This is extremely simple in terms of parallel tools in this, our peer tools in this domain have had a ton more IT issues than Kaizen Copilot. I would say the only big issues that we came across were related to honestly infancy of the software, maybe a year ago, right? There were a few bugs, there were features that we needed to add. These were relatively minor things that we worked directly with the Retrocausal team to resolve. But in terms of the on-site IT, this is about as easy as it gets because there's no direct integration to anything on the line, right? There's no PLC integration, there's no even network integration, right? This is all just record videos and then upload to the cloud. So as I mentioned, post-pilot, or the pilot itself was extremely smooth. With the help of some of the folks from Retrocausal as well as the team on site, we were able to get from knowing nothing about the line to a rebalanced line layout that showed measurable improvement in efficiency in less than a week. So this was exceeded our expectations in terms of the implementation. I would say that the overall deployment is maybe as I mentioned, as expected. It's not as fast as maybe I had hoped. But that's purely because it takes some time from an internal standpoint at a large corporation to start generating this change, right? To start introducing new tools. So from the Kaizen Copilot tool perspective itself, I think the deployment is extremely smooth. The thing that I think we're working on our end is how to market and to find the addressable problems around that KCP can address. And for the pilot program, it was less than a week. So we essentially in a handful of 3-4 days took the videos, did the analysis, implemented the change, and then we allowed that change to propagate over maybe a month standpoint, and then did a measurement of baseline versus improved, and we did see a direct measurable improvement in efficiency. I would say that in general, the biggest barrier entry is simply training of the software, right? There's a lot of things that you need to understand about how to use the software, and that's the biggest barrier to kind of getting set up. I'd say surprisingly to me, the greatest success has been the Ergo Copilot piece of the tool. This is something that I think 3M maybe specifically, I can't speak to other companies, was behind the game with, right? We were doing a lot of traditional pen and paper ergonomic analyses, things that took a lot of time for our EHX experts to identify problems. Ergo Copilot has been adopted so quickly because it's so trivial to implement. And the EHS folks, the environmental health and safety folks, love it here. So this is something that's just been eaten up, and I would be surprised if it wasn't at every plant in 3M, within the next year or two. I would say the second biggest success of the program is the mentality shift that it has introduced in how we do our time studies and continuous improvement. So a lot of the times there is, when a Kaizen happens, it's somebody has an idea to improve efficiency, and hey, let's just see what this change does. What I've been so happy to see with Kaizen Copilot is the ability to simulate changes and to play with different parameters within a work cell, within a software tool, so that you can understand what's optimal before you go and change it, right? That I think has been such a great success, and there have been two specific instances, I would say, of immediate, direct, measurable change that have come within a week of the implementation of KCP. So again, I'll touch on Ergo Copilot. Such a simple tool. Was not looking for this when we initially went ahead with piloted KCP, but it has exceeded expectations in terms of the results that it can give. It's such a simple tool, such a useful tool, and it's an accelerator for a EHS team. So extremely happy with the Ergo Copilot piece. I think the KCP, the Kaizen Copilot, the line balancing, the station design piece of the software, also very happy with. As I mentioned, there were a few bugs, a few features that we worked with the Retrocausal team to fix, and that happened extremely quickly. So I was really happy with the kind of the responsiveness that we got from that team. The thing that I would say, again, the biggest challenge that we're facing is what are the correct addressable problems that we can find throughout 3M, and how can we push these solutions quicker through our own internal, generally relatively old processes. So software performance, I would say we're happy. I would say I would hope to see more success, more direct improvements here in the near future once we kind of get over this barrier to entry with a new technology.